The story begins with James, a novelist who had recently written a book, but it completely failed in the market. His wife, Em, was very rich, so they never had to worry about money. James was completely dependent on her. Now, both of them decided to go on vacation to a small country, a place where the locals were extremely poor. In that country stood a hotel built only for the rich. James and Em checked into that hotel. Around the entire property were tall fences, so that no poor person from outside could enter. One day, Em mentioned she was craving Chinese food, so the two decided to drive out to a nearby restaurant beyond the resort walls. As they made their way out, James noticed a man smashing a car near the entrance, strange and unsettling. Just then, a woman walked up to him. Her name was Gabby. James asked her, "What's going on here?" Gabby told him that an outsider had somehow gotten inside the property and was causing destruction. Then she smiled and said, "I know you. I've read your novel. I'm a big fan of yours." James was surprised. His novel had been a complete failure. Moments later, Gabby's husband arrived and invited James and Em to dinner. That night, all four of them had dinner together. Gabby told James that she was an actress, and her husband was a businessman. They all talked for a while, laughing and sharing stories. The next morning, James told Em that they were invited by Gabby and her husband to go to the beach. But Em refused. She said, "It's too dangerous out there." James assured her, "I'll take care of you. You don't have to worry." So now, both of them, James and Em, left the hotel with Gabby and her husband. They drove through winding roads until they reached a beautiful, isolated beach. The place was breathtaking, golden sand, blue water, and the kind of quiet that only exists far away from the world. They spent the day there, laughing, swimming, and relaxing. But when Em wasn't around, Gabby started getting closer to James. She tried to flirt, touching his arm, smiling a little too much. James understood exactly what she was doing. She was attracted to him. After spending a whole day at the beach, everyone got drunk. Everyone except James. So he decided to drive the car back himself. But after a full day of fun, James was getting sleepy. Drowsy behind the wheel, he didn't see a man step out in front of the car. The man was struck and killed. Em said they should call the police. Gabby refused. She warned them that the local police and army were dangerous here, that they treated Muslims very badly. So, without telling anyone, they all returned to the hotel. The next morning, the police arrived at the hotel. They had traced the accident to James's car. The officers took James and his wife in. Em told the whole truth. Then an officer came to James and said, "Your wife has confessed everything." James asked, "What will my punishment be?" The officer answered, "You will be sentenced to death." James panicked, saying he didn't want to die so soon. The officer told him they wouldn't execute him. They would execute his clone, but it would cost money. So James withdrew a large sum from an ATM and handed it to the officer. Then he was told to step into a liquid chamber. When he came to, his wife was standing there telling him, "Your clone has been made." They took James to see the clone, an exact double of him. James was stunned to see a perfect replica. Then they executed the clone. The son of the man killed in the accident carried out the punishment on James's clone. With that done, the real James was free. He returned to the hotel with his wife. She said they couldn't stay in the country. They had to leave immediately. But James's passport was missing. Without it, he couldn't exit the city. He went to reception and asked, "Do you have my passport?" They told him no, but offered to extend his stay for another week if he wanted. James agreed. As he walked away, Gabby approached him. He didn't want to talk, but she said, "I need to tell you something." He sat down with her. Gabby explained. Her husband was a businessman whose company had 2 people killed. The blame fell on him, and he was sentenced to death. But when they came here, they had clones made, so the clones received the punishment instead. "There are many people like us here," she said. After that, Gabby takes James with her to a gathering, a group of people who in the past had all committed crimes. After paying the government, they'd had clones made, and the clones were punished in their place, so now those people were free. Killing had become a taste for them. They planned that the hotel owner, who lived up on the hill, should be taught a lesson. James didn't want to go, but they persuaded him and together they reached the owner's house. His guard opened fire, but they avoided the bullets. Gabby put a gun in James's hands and told him he had to kill them, and James's shot ended the hotel owner's life. The police arrested them, and in the next moment we see they are set free. Their clones have been created and executed. James found himself enjoying it. When he returned to the hotel, his wife said she didn't want to stay a moment longer and left for her country. James decided to remain. He went to Gabby, told her his wife had gone, and she said, "Don't worry, I'm with you." She took him to a room, burned an herb whose smoke he inhaled, and he felt powerful. They decided to go after the police officer. They kidnapped him and beat him badly. When the officer's mask was removed, James realized it wasn't the officer at all but his own clone. Seeing his clone, James panicked and understood just how dangerous these people really were. That realization hits him hard. They could kill him at any time. Terrified, James runs to the washroom and locks the door from the inside. He finally pulls out something he'd hidden there, his passport. He had managed to find it earlier and kept it secretly tucked away. Clutching it tightly, James leaves the washroom and rushes outside, hopping onto a bus heading toward the airport. He just wants to get out of this country. As the bus moves through the cold, empty road, James looks out the window and freezes. Gabby and her group are following him in their car. Gabby leans out, holding a gun, signaling him to step off the bus. But James refuses. The car speeds ahead and blocks the road, forcing the bus to stop. Her people order the driver to hand James over. With no choice left, he steps off the bus. They tell him to walk, to head back to the hotel on foot. But when James sees a chance, he bolts. The sound of a gunshot echoes through the air. Gabby fires, hitting his leg. Blood seeps through his jeans, but James keeps running. Limping, terrified, desperate, he pushes through the pain and vanishes into the dark, determined to survive. He walked all day until he reached a house where two girls lived. The moment James saw them, he fainted. When he came to, he found himself in their home. They had treated his wounded leg. James was seeing things, vivid hallucinations and strange visions. He knew he had to leave quickly. Gabby and her people could come for him anytime. When he stepped outside, Gabby and the others were already waiting. Gabby told him, "Your greatest test is before you. You must fight your duplicate, your clone, and kill it to preserve your existence." James didn't want to do it, but he had no choice. He fought his clone, and he killed it. Afterwards, James wept uncontrollably. Gabby knelt beside him and quieted him like a child. The next day, all of them were supposed to return to their own country, the United States. So, early in the morning, James called his wife. He told her, "For everything I've done, I'm sorry. I'm coming back to you soon." Now, everyone got on the bus, heading toward the airport. On the way, they were talking among themselves, laughing, saying how much fun they had during this vacation, and even making plans for their next one. Soon, they arrived at the airport. One by one, they all walked ahead toward the gates, ready to board their flight back home, back to their country. But James stays behind. He doesn't move forward. He's standing there, lost in thought. And then we see James has gone back to the hotel. He's sitting alone in the rain. There's not a single expression on his face. Maybe, after everything that happened to him, James no longer wants to return to his normal life. Or maybe he started to enjoy this life, this strange, lawless existence, everything that happens here. That's why, just like Gabby and her friends, James has completely lost his humanity. And now, staying here, he will do the same things that Gabby and her group are doing. And with that, the film Infinity Pool comes to an end. We hope you like the story of this movie.